And, we didn't just make that up. We didn't just pull that out of a hat. That phrase, the existing social and political order and the threat that they perceive to it, is listed throughout the documentation that we found in Senate Select Committee hearings, FBI documentation, and this mimics what we see in the Department of Homeland Security report and the MIAC reports. So this is nothing new. It's just laid out in a way where people can, for the first time, put those puzzle pieces together in a way that makes sense.
So what do we do about the FEMA camps? I mean, they're just building this whole infrastructure, turning our whole society into a prison. It's all admitted, but they're still in denial.
We have to resist at every corner. We have to resist at every corner, critical mass, spreading information. Alex, it's about waking up the people. That's the bottom line. Without an informed populace, and without winning the court of public opinion, we're going to lose this battle. I commend you, Alex, for the work you're doing, for the films you're putting out, for the message you're hitting home to people. It's a collective effort across a spectrum of the movement, to wake up the American people, to get us organized, to get us activated, and taking back this country. That's what we got to do.
Well, all I know is it's clear that we have a criminal establishment in control, setting up a scientific dictatorship, and things are only going to get worse until people say no. The biggest issue is the worship of police, the worship of surveillance in the media, as if these are the modern heroes, greater than Michael Jordan, greater than John Wayne. I mean, it's really sick. It's predatory. There's all these reports of police robbing people all over the country, don't even get in trouble. I know they're good police, but they're mainly used as the cover by the corrupt system itself to continue operating.
Well, up in Canada, there was a friend of mine who uncovered a drug smuggling operation by the Ontario police named Scott Loper. They threw him into a prison. They tortured him for 4 years and never provided him access to the embassy or the State Department. Violated international treaty. So, the corruption is worldwide, Alex, and you know this. It's sick.
Continue along that line.
Well, Scott was a police officer. He investigated criminal activities in New Jersey, moved up to Canada, discovered this drug smuggling operation. His family was taken away from him, trumped up charges. His child was abducted. They still don't know where the kid is. And now he's fighting the State Department to get justice. The State Department's denying him. All the documents are there. Check it out at ScottLoperStory.com. It's a horrible thing. And just one man trying to get justice, trying to expose corruption.
Well, when the history's written on all this, for better or worse, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. People are going to wish they'd done more. When they're openly announcing no free speech in America and they won't issue permits, first they say you got to have a permit that turns a right into a privilege. Then they start not issuing the permits, just like they did with gun permits in New York City. This is hardcore tyranny. This is communist China.
Well, it is, Alex, and it's up to the people, to stand up to this tyranny. When I look at my children or my grandchildren in the future, I want to say that I fought for freedom, that I fought for America, that I fought so that they could be raised and live in an America where freedom is not a slogan, it's not a catchphrase, but it's an actual reality that we can embrace. And that's what I fight for every day, Alex. That's why we put out these films, magazines, websites, webinars, whatever it may be, to push the message forward, to organize the people. Because I'm not going to sit back and say, I did nothing. I'm going to fight for this country, Alex.
Let's take some calls here. Let's go ahead and take a call from Nelson in California. Nelson, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Alex? This is my third time calling. I'm from We Are Change LA. I was calling in regards to a previous caller who was talking about the new Michael Moore movie. I actually went and saw it, and it was pretty bad, but really bad. But made a spoof poster, and I sent it to you through your advertising link. I don't know if you got it, but I made a spoof where I changed Michael Moore into you heckling at him with your bullhorn. And the other thing I connected was that Michael Moore's talent agent is Rahm Emanuel's brother, Ari Emanuel. I don't know if you're aware of that. Were you?
Yes, but I mean, I'm not defending Michael Moore because he's anti-Second Amendment. He's saying corporate system, the capitalism did this. This is just corporate robbery that did this. His answer of communism is what the elites want. They take our wealth and give it to themselves. But he's one of the biggest agents in Hollywood. And so, yeah, you're going to have people like that involved. Yes, I have seen that in the news. And yes, he's got a whole agenda pushing government health care, seizing 20% of what's left of the market. Of course, the insurance companies are corrupt, too, because they've used government regulation to allow that corruption. Before government got involved 50 years ago, we were the apple of the world's eye. So we need less government, not more government. And you've got Rahm Emanuel's other brother is advising the White House on the death panels and openly gives speeches about, the case for getting rid of Granny. And so, yeah, it's pretty creepy. I appreciate your call. There's all these interconnections in this whole power structure, isn't there, Gary Franchi and Mr. Lewis?
Oh, without question. And, it's, in the mainstream media, it's where it's so frightening. I just got a report that Camp Fema was hand-delivered to Glenn Beck at a recent book signing. And there is a special segment on Glenn Beck, as you know, Alex, in the film. So we anticipate something coming out of Glenn Beck if he even decides to watch the film. But when the film was handed to him, he was told that the film was made in response to his message. So it should be interesting to see what the
You know what's sad about Glenn Beck? Muse are fans of the show. The lead singer, main songwriter is Mr. Bellamy's been on the show. And we've inspired their work. So we've inspired Megadeth and a lot of other groups. But the issue is that Beck came out last week and endorsed it and said he loved the message. And they said, remove your endorsement. You're an establishment lackey trying to co-opt our movement. So the good news is anybody with half a brain knows that Beck's a phony. He does a lot of good work, but he only does that to get you under his control so he can then deny key issues. Remember, when Ron Paul had a chance of winning, it was Glenn Beck sunk him more than anybody. And now that Ron Paul can't become president right now, he loves him. He is a Judas Iscariot. He is a Benedict Arnold. Well, gentlemen, I want to commend you on the film Camp Fema. More and more, I'm sitting there listening to our last guest. I'm thinking, why are we having to even fight FEMA camps? Why are we even having to fight mercenaries? Why are we even having to deal with face-scanning cameras and AP headlines? National police chiefs call for neighbors to spy on neighbors. And then I'm in Billings, Montana, and the third-floor elevator opens, and it's police and Homeland Security banners with hundreds of Girl Scouts. And I step out of the elevator dazed. I mean, it's so insane. It's so evil. And these crazy cops and crazy spies and crazy un-American people will go, we're stopping drugs, we're stopping terrorists. When you stage the terror in almost every case, when you ship the drugs in, it's all on record. I mean, give me a break. Leave me alone. I already don't go downtown Austin hardly ever to eat, even though they got good restaurants down there, because I don't want to be around the thug downtown cops. What am I going to do when they say now they take blood randomly at checkpoints? They're announcing in Canada and England they're going to randomly take breathalyzers and blood. Randomly. What do I do when the cop goes, I'm going to stick a needle in your arm, boy? I mean, it's just they keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And they work for offshore banks that are openly killing the dollar, that have openly doubled the credit card rates to 30%, who are openly setting up world government and are going to tax carbon dioxide.